Hey y'all, welcome to the Team LocoFit Roundtable, hosted by me, Laurin Conlon, owner of Team LocoFit. Each week, I am joined by one of our coaches to dive headfirst into the nutrition, training, mindset, and coaching strategies we use with our clients. If you loved the show, please subscribe, leave us a review, tell a friend, you know the drill. And for more information about coaching, the programs we offer, and additional content, visit teamlocofit.com.
All right, and we are back, and I'm with Coach Sam once again.
Hello.
And we are in the year 2021. I already messed it up on the last one, so we're not going to do it this time. And if you didn't listen to our last podcast, we talked about, what type of resolution are you? Like, what does your resolution say about you? And we went through all the 4 different topics. And we wanted to take this time, like this week, to go over really like the best and the worst of 2020 for the fitness industry. We're not touching everything else. We're solely focusing on the health and fitness industry. And of course, there's so many good things and there's so many bad things, but we just wanted to cover a few that, we thought were really relevant. And not just to share this, but really to, okay, let's share this, let's dissect it, and let's use this to effectively move forward in the new year. Because there are a lot of things, for better or for worse, that we learned, and we can use that in a really positive and constructive way moving forward. So do you want to start with the best or the worst?
I say we start with the worst so that we can end on a high note.
Exactly. There we go. Yeah. Positivity. Yeah.
We move into 2021 on a high note.
There we go.
So the worst, this was an easy one because there's a lot that wasn't great about the year. And especially when we're talking about fitness, like COVID had a huge impact on fitness. Gyms closed. People were sedentary. And that's the first thing that I have is, one of the worst things was the lockdowns and the sedentary lifestyles that people were kind of forced into, especially people who went from working normal jobs to working from home. And this just increased. Some people used it as their benefit, which we'll talk about later, but a lot of people, it was sitting a lot more than they used to. Their NEAT like completely plummeting, and then sitting at night binge watching Netflix and all the things that came out at that time that we were all just engaged in. And it really just became a time of like non-movement, and it was winter for a lot of people too.
Oh, I was like, what?
Oh wait, what's winter in Florida?
Not really. I was like, it was nice outside here, but everywhere else was actually, that's like our ideal time. Like March is so bomb in Florida. Just saying. Yeah. But actually don't move here because there's too many fucking people here already. So get out, everybody who wants to come here. I know it's cool, but
come to Minnesota.
Go fix your other stuff, all right? Go fix your government. Don't come to Florida. Taking up my space. Anyways, yes, I would say that one of the biggest changes was, a lot of people for the first time ever now were working at home. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge transition for people, right? So not only I would say that there's 2 or 3 main things. First, there's no longer a boundary of work and home. So for people who have worked at home, I've always worked at home. I actually, I've told this story on here before, but literally I signed a lease for an office the week before the COVID shutdowns hit. So just LOL to my 2020, but it actually worked out to be amazing. I have been able to go back, so it's been awesome. I haven't used it for what I intended to use it for, which was in-person stuff, but it doesn't matter. I still have a lot of great use of it. But so I've always been at home. I've actually made the effort to leave my home this year to work a few days outside of the home because I like it so much. But for a lot of people, this is the first time that they don't have that physical boundary of work and home. And that's really, really hard for people. When you're at an office, when you come in, when you leave, maybe you stay late every once in a while. But generally speaking, you have a time when you're there, you have a time when you leave, you shut your laptop, you shut your computer, you leave. Now, some people, of course, I understand, bring work home. I get it. And everybody's work is very dynamic and very different. But generally speaking, if you are going and you're leaving the house, you're doing most of your work at the office. We'll just say that, or the classroom, or whatever it is. You're doing it not at home. So that difference has been really, really hard for people because now, okay, there's a few options, right? You have a job where you just do stuff when you want to do it, right? Like say you're just on the computer all day, like you could do it at any time, right? Maybe like some people can have that luxury. So some people didn't really know how to moderate their schedule. Some people still had the same work hours, but now They are staying up late, binge watching TV because they're like, oh, I don't have to drive in the morning or whatever. I just got to wake up and, work in my PJs, which is terrible. Anybody who's worked from home now for a few months can tell that that's not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, so people's just schedules have been totally, totally off. And a lot of people that I've talked to, they're like, I'm working more. So I think part of it is, people get more distracted at home. It's very easy to get distracted at home. But second, like some jobs have just like completely eliminated any boundaries. It's like, oh, got to do all these things. You guys can work from home. Like you're not, and it's like, it's been a lot of things with that.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge one too, is the distraction and the stretching things out. It's like things that used to get done in that, 7-8 hour work window. Now it's, I gotta do this one really quick thing here. I got this really quick thing here. I'm gonna go make lunch, do laundry, whatever. And then it's like 7 p.m. and I have this stuff I still need to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually transitioned to work from home, like for myself and then for you guys, through COVID. And I was a fitness instructor, so I was walking, 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day to 2,000, and like not even really realizing it because it was just, this is temporary, this is whatever. And it's not, like, especially for a lot of us and a lot of people, like they're probably not going back to an office either ever or like not in the near future, because businesses are realizing that, oh, we don't need to lease this office space because our people can do this from home. Or some people actually like working from home, which I understand. I like working from home, so I get that. But not realizing how that has affected our lifestyles, it was easy to not make changes that we needed to then make up for that shift in lifestyle. And so I know for me, I've had to do certain things. Like I set a timer on my phone that my email shuts off at 8 p.m. And if I get something after 8 p.m., I will respond at 8 a.m. when it comes back on. And that's just a lifestyle boundary I've had to set. Now, of course, if there's somebody who's like, hey, I'm traveling, I'm going to have to check in super late tonight. Like, okay, maybe I'll like pop in and check it because I can open it up. But it just helps me to at least not be checking it or not have notifications popping up all the time.
Oh, God, all my notifications are off. Hell, I am so squirrely with that stuff. Like, if I see a bunch of things coming in, like, nope, I have to, okay, I'm going to do this. And now I can multitask, but it's not effective. Like, I'll do it, but it's not effective. So I've learned, especially on the phone, I have 0 notifications.
That's smart. Yeah.
Unless somebody, like, I have texting and calling open, that's it. I might even turn my texting off. And then just kind of check it when I check it, because, obviously I'm always like, what are the emergency? But, generally speaking, things are okay, but, you have to have boundaries. And a lot of people, and that's even true, even if you do have an office job or not even office, even if you're out of the house, it is important to have a boundary kind of thing anyway, and just kind of have a shutdown routine, essentially. But I know that I can do that same thing. And that's, a lot of people have really struggled with not moving, getting distracted, working later, working longer. And then when you're working later, then you're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm not going to like train. Let's say the gym shut down, but you were going to do a home workout. You're not doing that now, right? Like it's 8 o'clock. You're not doing that. And then you're going to watch them on TV, and then you might start eating shit, and then you're going to sleep. Like, it's just the whole thing that kind of compounds where, if you have that structure, okay, like, and this is something that's going to sound really dramatic, and I don't mean it to sound like this, but waking up with a purpose is really important. And I think that we can all say that we've been there when you wake up and you're like, I don't really need to get up right now. Like, there's nothing that's making me wake up. And that sounds really depressing. But that can be the reality, especially if you have a thing where it's like, hey, I have a set amount of work I need to get done. I can do it whenever. That can create a lot of really weird borders for your schedule and for yourself. So, having something to where it's like, nope, I need to wake up at this time because I have to do this thing, helps so much. Like, there are days, literally, I'm the same person, I'm in the same mindset, then it can be 2 days and I have nothing scheduled for the next day. I mean, obviously I have work, but I can do it whenever.
Right.
Or I have an appointment and I got to work out and I got to do this. Why do I wake up completely refreshed and feeling great on this one day?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but
it's literally just because of that. Oh, I got to get up and I have to go do this thing. So I think that the working from home has been really, really challenging for people. Of course, gyms being shut down, has added a whole different layer. If your kids' schools were not open and you've been doing Zoom, horrid nightmare for kids.
On top of working from home.
It's just a lot,
We're not working from home. I know so many people who had to still go to work and have kids at home. Like how?
Yeah. And
How?
that's a whole nother thing. But that's not
They
what we're going to be
have
talking about. We're talking about health and fitness. We're not going to be talking about all the other depressing shit. So next one,
it kind of goes off of that, what you're saying just there, that with like the training from home and like having to figure that out with gyms closed. I feel like, especially in our space, there was a lot of, and this is kind of like the next two topics are about this. There was a lot of taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities at this time. A lot of people were panicked when their like group fitness shut down or their gym shut down. It was like, what am I going to do? And there was a lot of, I would consider gross marketing of like, you need to buy this at-home gym equipment. This is going to be like the end-all be-all for you. Or like, buy my 12-week program. This is it. Like, and people just like price gouging people. And like, I mean, everything was sold out. So it was hard to get anything. And it was just gross.
We have a full garage gym, which we actually finished literally right before all this hit. And I mean, we're always adding shit here and there, but like I'm talking about, I mean, the whole thing is full. We got a full rack of, like everything was done like right before. And, but most of our stuff is used. We get it, Rago's all over the place, gets it. And the one thing that, we'll just look, cause he's always looking at stuff and, and the prices for equipment, like, I mean, we actually did end up selling a few things, but at like a normal price, you know what I mean? And it was just insane. Like some, like a barbell, like a brand new, like, let's just say the barbell, this exact one was like $150 brand new.
Yeah.
Somebody was selling a used one for like $4 something. And Ryan literally was like, go fuck yourself. like you're such a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like a basic ass barbell that's been used. Like, this is not a $400 bar, like, and just stuff like that was just like so awful. I felt like, and, I mean, I get it. People are trying to make money. Like maybe that guy, lost his job. Like I understand, but it's still just like, God, like, so the whole fitness space really, really changed with, having the gyms pulled, and part of it was, okay, how do I train? What do I do? I had some people who were like, yeah, I got like one band and a fucking one dumbbell, like it was like, this is rough. But to kind of counter from the first part, you really do have to be diligent. A lot of people do not train well at home. So kind of like the idea of like, hey, working from home can be hard because of distractions and things like that. Training at home, even though it seems really simple, like I walk outside and it's right there, it for many people it's very hard to get motivated to do that, especially if they're in a small space, like like luckily like we both have garages to where we get to do this. Some people, like I said, had a dumbbell and a band and they were like in their living room, so like who wants to fucking really do that? Nobody. So if you were struggling with that, and this goes for any kind of goal that you're setting, if you're struggling to actually hit it, say gyms are back open and whatever, but now it's not a routine in your life, you need to set that routine now. And this is something that I go over with clients a lot of times too, who are like really struggling with, I can't seem to get consistent with the gym again. And I'm like, all right, Sunday, your work schedule, what you're doing. You need to plan out literally the days that you're training, right? Like, okay, I get it. Shit happens, whatever, something might come up, you can adjust, but pretty much be like, okay, I'm training these days and this is what I'm sticking to. And no matter what, then, you got to get up and you're going to do this and you're going to actually execute on it. Because if you're like, oh, I'll do it. And I do this too. And then I'll be like, oh, fuck, it's Thursday. Like, oh, now I got to, my workouts are like all jacked up, right? Like that was stupid on my part for doing that. I don't do it all the time, but every once in a while, it happens. So having that where you're like, all right, these are the days that I'm setting. This is what I'm doing. That is really, really important, whether it's an at-home workout or you're just, your gym is open again and now you're getting back into that routine. Getting back into a routine is just as hard. And there's some people who are obviously super excited, like, all the meatheads wanted the gym to open up, like I get it. But for everybody else who's kind of struggling with that, or, they had finally just gotten into like their routine of going to the gym. Now it's like, oh, I got to do this again.
And start over?
Yeah, you do. Sorry. But having those days and even like the times is really key. Like, okay, I know I'm going to work out better in the morning. Well, what does that mean? You got to have your shit ready for the morning. Now, you might still be working from home, but now if your gym's open, you have to go to the gym. So you need to plan, what time do I need to leave the house to go to the gym, to work out, to come home and be ready to start my stuff. Or if it's after work, but you know that when you come home, you really struggle. All right, we'll just pack your stuff.
Yeah.
Go right there. You know, you need to figure out where are the hiccups and then correct it from there.
And have like the slightest bit of grace with yourself in that scenario, where I know a lot of my clients who were without a gym and were at home, it was like, gyms are open, I'm going back to my 4-day split, like, let's go. And then it was like, I cannot get into this routine again. Like the two that specifically went through this are nurses and were way overworked and like were slammed with responsibilities outside of this. So it was like, wait, is 4 days a week realistic for you right now? Like based on your life, it might not be. And it might be your hurdle to overcome is way higher. Like, let's just set that bar a little lower for right now. Let's get in 2 consistently. Then we add in 3. Then we go back to that 4 and you'll get back into it. But don't expect to be out of a gym with a band and a dumbbell for 3 months and then go back to, deadlifting your previous weight. Like, probably not going to happen. And if you try, you're probably going to mess yourself up a little bit. So give yourself those like reasonable expectations when going back into it. But I mean, that was like skipping ahead a little bit to like when we talk about the pros. I do think that was a positive for some people. Some people was recognizing like building out like a home gym or like investing in those types of things.
For sure.
When it made sense. The things that like didn't make sense were people who really had no experience selling these things, or just creating like this is the 12-week plan that'll fix your life during this horrible time. You're like, oh sweet, I'll just do this 12-week plan and like everything will be fine. It's like, no, it's not gonna happen. But that's a whole other thing. Which, do you want to jump into that?
Yeah. So speaking of preying on people's vulnerabilities, so there's always waves in the fitness industry. There's always new things that come up. And this is by no means new, but I feel like it's definitely heightened this year due to everything going on. And how do we even want to like title this? Like,
coaches coaching coaches. That's what
I am not against
at
all. There are many people that I've done coaching consulting for. I've thought about doing this type of stuff. So this is not something that I'm against. What we're against, I think everybody can recognize, are the people who maybe shouldn't be offering these services and using people's vulnerabilities to get them to sign up. So perfect example, people are using the script of, look what happened this year. It's 2020, shit's crazy. Your job isn't stable. Why don't you start your own business?
Yeah.
First of all, not everybody should be an online coach.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of the situation. But if you've had this desire to do it and then somebody comes along and says, you know what, like, here's this push that you need, like, this is the sign. But they're like, but my coaching is this much money. And it's like outrageous. And again, everybody has different prices. I am not against charging high prices for things. I'm not. But when you're telling people I went into credit card debt to hire my mentor, I took out this loan to do this, and you're like, whoa. And it's like, if you want to believe in yourself, you better take a big risk. Again, these are all things that are true, but when taken to this extreme are just so insane to me. Like, I can't even fathom why somebody would look at that and go, that's the person I need to hire. This is what I need to do. It's you're taking people who shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. And you're preying on them. Yeah. And then now they're coaching people. And what the coach is teaching this person a lot of times is not about how to coach. It's about how to sell these other packages. And it's like, they're like sharing this script, this like magic script. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah. And that's what I was just about to say. A lot of the times the stuff, at least seems to be, it seems to be very cookie cutter, and it seems to be exactly that. It's like, this is how to make X amount of money per month doing coaching. And it's not, this is how to change people's lives. This is how to create behavior change. This is how to make an impact. This is how to make X amount of money. And not to say money's not important, like it's important, and not to say it's wrong to charge a high ticket item, but to say to someone who is never coached a person before, who doesn't have the background that they need, doesn't have the education that they need, doesn't have the skills to coach, to say that that person should be charging 2, 3, 5, 10 grand a month. Like I've literally seen those packages, or for a 3-month package or 4-month package. To say that that person should be charging that amount of money is completely irresponsible. And it's not sustainable for that person either, because what's going to happen when people realize, like, I'm not getting anything?
That person's full of shit. Guess what? They're not going to re-sign up. Like, the idea behind, there's zero longevity to this plan. So anybody who is thinking of starting coaching and wants to do this for the right reasons, I'm all for it. All for it.
Yes.
Well, you have to be realistic with where you're starting. And nobody starts out with zero experience and zero education making that kind of money.
Yeah.
People I know have been doing this their whole lives. Or not even charging this, right? And again, everybody has a different price. There are people who charge far more than we do, and people who charge far less than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And all in between. And that's totally fine. And this is not a, hey, this is how much you should charge for online coaching discussion, because I don't think there's one price. I think it should be whatever the person decides. But there is a lot to be said about online coaching when it comes to education and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you have a sales script or a business background does not mean you're a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You're not. You need to have basic business skills to operate a coaching business. 100%. Mm-hmm. You need to have a good team of people to help you with things like taxes and all these kind of things. Yes. But do you need to actually know how to coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you care about being responsible in the slightest bit, or actually making a difference as a coach.
And it's not a matter of, you just need to think that you just need to believe that you can do this. It's like, no, that's not how this works. It's just not. Like, believing in yourself is great, but what do you have to back this up?
Yeah.
Are you believing in yourself because you have the education? Do you believe in yourself because you're actually competent? Do you believe in yourself because you have a track record? Do you believe in yourself because you have experience with doing the thing that you're trying to do for other people? Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you should believe in yourself. If you just said, I want to coach people because I want to do this, and this seems like a great line of business, you need to acquire skills first, and then you can do it. So there's this really good book, I reference it a lot. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. It's absolutely it's written by one of my favorite authors, Cal Newport. He's amazing. Get all of his books. And the idea is that basically it's, we've all heard the passion hypothesis, follow your passion, that's what you're going to do. And generally speaking, the people who promote this are the worst representations of this. So Steve Jobs is notorious for this, right? Like, follow your passion, follow your heart, do all these things. Okay. Steve Jobs didn't become the head of Apple because he was passionate about doing this. He wasn't. Yeah. If you look at his background, he was kind of a bum, kind of a drifter, did all these things. He had some skill sets. He developed more skill sets. He got in line with people who could enhance those skill sets. And Apple was made. He didn't wake up and go, I'm going to change the world and make the iPhone. That's not what he was passionate about. He wasn't. He wanted to do like hippie stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So, but when you hear somebody who's uber successful like that, saying these things, you go, oh, I got to follow my passion. And in this book, he details kind of the importance of developing rare and valuable skills to be an actual person who has value in society for said skill sets. And again, we're not even talking about money. We're talking about if you want to be a valuable person in your industry, you need to develop skills in said industry. I couldn't become an engineer, probably ever, but if I didn't go to engineering school and then I didn't go do an internship and then I wasn't, had this experience, like, oh, I was always playing with gadgets as a kid. No, like, yeah, you couldn't pay me to be an engineer, but I'd be like, what are we doing here? It's like, just not my thing. But I can't understand this, like, or the message, you know what, you just need to like move across the country and just do whatever you like, just start a new life. And you're like, what are these people talking about on the internet? Like and this is just always preying on vulnerable people. And it just drives me up a wall when I see this kind of stuff. And again, I understand that I'm like overly practical sometimes, and maybe that's not a great thing. So I'm hyper aware of that. So I like read it through that lens, like, all right, I'm reading it through this other lens. But it's like, if you're telling this to somebody, like, it's not good advice. Like, it's harmful. Like,
and especially this year when there were a lot of people who were
exactly
out of a job or looking for some purpose, like we talked about with being home from work. Like there's a time where it felt like, what's the point sometimes? And to be like, this is your new purpose, this is your new thing, you're going to help people. Like, I can see how if you were in a harder position, that would feel really good. And like, we're not gatekeeping the coaching community by any means. Like, there's so many people who are fantastic coaches and would be fantastic coaches, and maybe
100%.
don't have like all the education experience in the world, but are still good coaches and are able to do that responsibly. But taking a 5-week course that you're paying 10 grand for, that is going to just teach you how to then sell packages, like, that's not gonna make you a coach, and that's not your best entry into the business. If you want to be a coach, do it, but do it the right way.
You said it perfect. Entry. At some point, you need to learn how to grow a business. Agreed. Everybody needs more business experience. If you don't have that, that's not like your niche. You need to learn that. That's not the first thing you learn. The first thing you learn is how to be a good coach, not how to sell coaching packages.
Yes.
It's not how to have a call or a sales funnel. I don't even know what that is still. I'm like, what is a sales funnel? I like have a script when you're, when somebody calls and here's this script to go over. There's no script. Hey, what are you doing? What are your goals? What's your history? All right, here's what we can do together. What fucking script do you need for that? And I'm like, sorry, I know it's getting real ranty, so I need to just cool it. But this is like the thorn in my side of the industry. And it is so frustrating because, and again, like you said, it's not that these people are bad people. They want to help people. They want to coach people, and they might be amazing coaches. But if they're going and they're seeing this person and they're like, oh, this is what I need to be doing first. That's not what you need to be doing first. You need to be taking every course, every webinar, going and learning from people, hiring other coaches that you want to learn from, doing consults with people. You know how many people I've hired for consults just to be like, hey, can I pick your brain for 2 hours? Like, I just do that. Like going, I know there was no conferences this year, but webinars, seminars, like courses that people put together, like going back to school, whatever it is, like learning coaching stuff. That's what's most important if you're starting out. And if this year was like your wake-up call, like, you know what, I want to start coaching on the side, or I want to make this my full-time gig. Cool, awesome, amazing. We always need more good coaches in the industry, clearly.
Yeah.
Don't focus on all the other stuff first. Focus on becoming a better coach. That should be your only priority for the first multiple years of your business. Literally, you should head down. All you need to do is learn how to be a better coach. Everything else will follow. Everything else. You don't need a fancy script when you're talking to a new person. You don't need any of this shit. Put out information, learn new information, learn from your failures, and learn how to be a better coach.
Yeah.
There's my mastermind.
You need to actually charge 10 grand for this podcast.
Hey, honestly, if we had a mastermind, I'd get up there and be like, yo, here's the deal. And then I'd be like, all right, what are we going to go do next? We're going to go like work out. We're going to have some wine. We're going to go eat. Like, what are we going to do? Like, that'll be my mastermind. Like, here's my 5-minute presentation.
I'm going to have to pass on that one.
Peace out.
As long as it's free, I'm there, but I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah, no shit. It's like, God, this stuff is.
Yes, that's just a huge one. And it was just, I think in the fitness industry, in totality, like, it was just a year of fear mongering, and like, you're broke. Here's a way to become a coach and fix that. You're fat. Here's a 12-week program to fix that. You're scared of the coronavirus. Here's the foods you need to eat to be free of the coronavirus, even though like that's not true. Like, it was all these things just preyed on people and their vulnerabilities. But to switch into the happiness that shall be 2021, hope to There were some positives, and I think one of those came out of the lockdowns and the working from home, and that was a lot of people again invested in their gyms. They got outside when they could. Even here in Minnesota, I know we got out and walked like multiple times a day once I realized that I wasn't moving, and picked up new hobbies. Like you picking up jujitsu, I picked up dancing, but it was a wake up call for people that like, if this is gonna be my reality, for some people, it was a wake up call that if this is gonna be my reality, like I got to make it work.
Yes, I need to be a healthier version of me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, we saw a lot of people who were like, you know what, because, force them to kind of slow down and go, I need to take care of my health. I mean, the biggest comorbidity of, COVID deaths is obesity, like,
Yeah.
one of them. And it's like, all right, I need to take COVID out of the equation. Any disease, any infectious disease, you're going to be better off if you have a stronger and better immune system. If you're a healthy person functioning on all levels, if you're getting vitamin D, if you're going out in the sun, if you're at a normal body weight, if you have healthy blood panel, if you're exercising, like these are going to be good things that'll help fight off any disease that you are encountering. Not curing them, but helping to fight them off like a normal, just natural immunity. So I think a lot of people made them reflect like, you know what, like I need to take better care of myself, in this regard. And I think a lot of people too, had to really take a look at their eating habits. And, I think some people use this in a positive way and some people use this in a negative way, right? Like I think we said enough negative shit, but you could have gone down a maybe negative path with what you were eating and how you were eating. But you could have also done an inventory and said, oh, I'm going to cook more at home, or I'm going to learn how to make this, or maybe I'm going to, finally hire a coach and kind of get a handle on my nutrition. We had a lot of people do that because of, everything that's going on. So I think that it was, a really good wake up call in that sense. And like I said, it could have been bad. It could have been I mean, I know for me at least, we've had not nearly as strict of lockdowns as really anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But in the initial part, everything shut down. Jiu-jitsu shut down. Like everything was shut. So I was kind of like, all right, well, for me, jiu-jitsu's at night. So that makes me not drink wine because I'm going to jiu-jitsu. So I had that stimulus taken out. So I'm like, all right, well, I can just drink every night. You know what I mean? And, why not? Like, why don't I eat ice cream every night and watch Tiger King? Like, there's nothing else to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, I was like, oh, I need to stop doing this. Maybe I need to cool it. But, so luckily, I'm somebody who obviously is very self-aware and, knows that I have those proclivities, and everybody, can have a few weeks where they do stuff like that. But I was like, all right, like time to clean it up. Like this is just not an appropriate way to live. But for people who maybe didn't have that background knowledge, they could have been like, all right, well, this is my new normal and I'm just going to continue to do this. And then now they're like, whoa, what do I do? Like now I've had all these unhealthy behaviors for a whole year. We need to kind of revert that. But I do think that it made a lot of people stop and go, all right, I need to take care of my health. And that was a really good thing, I think.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people who were like forced into that situation, not being able to go to the gym or, like I was still working in group fitness at the time. So a lot of the people I work with aren't people who necessarily have the education that like on how to work out at home. Like they go to group fitness because they don't want to have to learn. They just want me to tell them what to do and just go and do whatever. And so it was a time where people had to become more educated and they had to be creative. And I know like for us, it was really cool because before we'd go out for walks and there'd be no one out there. And then we go out for walks and everyone was outside and everyone was playing outside. And they were like, it was really kind of cool. But I mean, also, I always hate saying like this is a good thing about COVID, but like it was a good thing. It was really nice to see it. And it lasted for a long time. And there are still people, like it's 20 degrees out today and like people will still be bundled up going for walks because it's just what we do. I bought a treadmill, so I don't do that anymore, but I'm still walking.
Other people do this thing, but I
was doing it until we got the treadmill. But I was like, that's enough of that. But it was just a time of people like being creative and doing more on their own that maybe they wouldn't have had to do otherwise. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and that leads into the last point too, which I think this entire year made people realize, all right, not just my physical health, but also my mental health. the state of the lockdowns, literally is inducing, anxiety and depression symptoms that some people have never experienced before, or have heightened their current experiences, right? The number one way to make somebody feel really, really uncomfortable and anxious is to have uncertainty. And there's been, obviously a lot of uncertainty with knowing when things are going to change, like when this all first started, the phases, right? It was like, well, when the fuck is the next phase going to happen, right? Like, and you could become obsessed. Like I was like literally checking like every day, like when's the next thing? Like when's this going to be open? Because you want to know, okay, this is going to be here. And when there is uncertainty in any facet of your life, that's when you become very anxious. So there's been a year filled with uncertainty about, what's going on. Am I going to be working from home? Am I going to go back? What are my kids doing? Are these restaurants open? Like is the gym ever going to open again? Like what is happening, right? And so I think that the uncertainty, and then also just like the fear of like, the lockdowns and just kind of that the social isolation has really, really, affected people. So that of course is very negative, but I think that has also opened people's eyes to, wow, I need to maybe take some steps, like we've talked about, to actively help my mental health, whether that is going for a walk, whether that is, journaling, whether that is meditating, whether that is seeing a therapist, whatever that might be. Maybe you were never doing those things before, or maybe you had done them in the past, but you kind of stopped. And now you like restarted because you saw how important it was. So I think that it was a really good thing for that too, because while people's mental health, I do believe, has deteriorated as a whole, I think that a lot more people are aware of what is affecting their mental health, and they're taking actionable steps. Some people are taking actionable steps to make it better.
Yeah. And I think it also illuminated the importance of being aware of that. And a lot of people who, like you said, had never dealt with that before, or maybe didn't realize even that they were dealing with something, now are cognizant
front
of
center.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is a thing I need to be aware of. I need to focus on. And a lot of people were able to have the time to do that, and to put that in the forefront. And that's, I mean, it sucks that so many people had to deal with that, but hopefully that'll give skills for post this time period that we can continue doing and manage better. And I think another thing was, like, at least for me, like, I'm a planner, and I know that a lot of people who listen to this podcast are very type A, plan. And this was a year where you couldn't plan, and you had to learn to be a little more go with the flow and relaxed, and to realize that, like, oh yeah, shit, I don't control the universe. Like, I thought I could do this. And it was like, I can't plan, but like, I can now, I at least have like worked on that mentality of like, even though I don't know exactly what's going to happen, like, I can now roll with the punches better than I ever have been before. And that came from working through that anxiety of not knowing and not being able to have the control I once thought I had.
For sure. No, I think that that's been a huge, huge thing. And, a big part of, what we do is planning stuff, whether it's events or shows or just, traveling the space, like all of that was just like smashed in the face, which was really, really hard. But, like you said, you have to learn to adapt, and you learn to, okay, well, this whole thing is taken away. So what else am I going to do here? I can fill this with good things, or I can fill this with maybe some not so great things. And, sometimes it's okay to do the maybe not great things, like, binge on a new TV show. Like, it happened, right? Like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. But it's also like, all right, I can't do this every week, maybe. So like, I can do this like some days. It's just like the training thing. Okay, I need to plan, when am I going to do this? So it's like, all right, you need to plan when you're going to do like self-improvement stuff, like when you're going to learn new things, like when you're going to schedule whatever, and I think it just brought, this whole year brought to the forefront very, very clearly, a lot of things that we can work on. And I think that taking, pretend that this year never happens again, and all this shutdown stuff never happens again, you can still use all these lessons moving forward to be a better version of you, and because this exact thing might not happen again, but something else is going to happen, whether it's, nationwide, the whole worldwide, or whether it's just in your own life. Nobody's ever like knows when adversity is going to hit. That's what part of makes it part of what makes it so challenging is we don't know when it's going to happen. So if you've been tested with something, this year was a really big test for a lot of us in very different reasons. Now you can use that moving forward. Even if it's not this exact thing again, you can still use this resiliency and these lessons that you've learned in anything else that's going to hit you in your life. Because I'm going to promise you there's going to be something else that's going to happen to just you, something that you're going to have to overcome, and these skills will be valuable. So this year wasn't a total waste, even though it might have felt like it. Even though it might have felt like you took 10 steps backwards, and you honestly might have. You might have taken 10 steps backwards. But if you actually take the time to, review, okay, what happened? What was in my control? What was out of my control? What can I learn from this? Now you can start to inch back forward, and you can actually get farther ahead the next time.
If you made it, we're in 2021. So you built some resiliency. You're here.
Exactly.
And there's a lot that we can learn from the year. And you're right. Adversity is bound to come, and we've all faced it this year, but we've all made it this far. So yeah, take the time to learn from it.
All right. Well, that is our best and worst of the fitness industry 2020. And like we said, we wanted to go over this. I know I got a little ranty there for a while. Sorry, guys, but I just
we love it.
Really bothers me, clearly. But we bring these things up not to just share them, but to hopefully get value from them, and value moving forward for you guys. So if you liked this episode, let us know. Leave a review. Do the whole thing. 10 stars. You guys know. And if you want any more information on our coaching programs, we're not going to do that kind of coaching. If you want coaching, we won't use a sales script when you do your consult with us. Don't worry. I'm such a shitbag. Any information, it's on our website. Podcasts are on all platforms, and we will catch you guys next week.